Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan. It's time for some Old World. It's been a while, hasn't it? But the Empire of Man has just gone on pre-order today, which means we can talk about some brand new rules for the Empire of Man. A big thank you to our friends at Games Workshop for the early access to the Arcane Journal, because there's a lot to talk about, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, I've read through it a fair amount. The quality on the Empire Arcane Journal is absolutely awesome. So there's a lot of rules, and I don't mean just for like 2 usual factions. Technically, there's like 6. So let's get started. There's a bunch to talk about. There should be timestamps in the description below, and let's jump right in. We'll start off with the city-state of Null. There's quite a lot to talk about here because Null is going to be a really popular one, I think, actually. So first, let's go with the army composition. So for characters, 50%, 0 to 1 General of the Empire or a Lector of Sigmar per 1,000 points. This is a Sigmarite faction. The General is pretty damn good anyway, and you can tailor it with ranged weapons, so that's pretty good. Then Captains of the Empire, Master Mages, Witch Hunters, Priests of Sigmar, and Empire Engineers, as many as you want. And finally, 0 to 1 War Altar of Sigmars, taken as a mount for a Lector of Sigmar. For core, it's 25%, and it's +1, so you have to take 1, regiment of Null State Troops or Null Veteran State Troops. So these are your melee troopers, not your range. Don't worry about that, there's rules that add in the range units on the side. Then 0 to 1 Outriders per 1,000 points for core, which is not too bad actually, and as many Free Company Militia or Empire Archers as you wish. For special, that's 50%, you can have as many Empire Greatswords, Pistoliers, Outriders, and Empire Knights and War Wagons too. War Wagons are a new unit that you're going to be playing around with. That's not too bad. And then you've got 0 to 3 War Machines per 1,000 points. That is Great Cannons and Mortars. You're going to be fielding a decent amount of artillery. Engineers are going to be a benefit here for you. Then for rare, you've got as many Empire Road Wardens as you want. That's a brand new unit. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. That's 25%. And finally, 0 to 2 War Machines per 1,000 points, which is the Hellblaster Volley Gun, the Hellstorm Rocket Battery, and 0 to 1 Steam Tanks per 1,000 points. You can only really take 1 steam tank per 2,000 points anyway, because they're a bit too expensive. And then you've got mercenaries, which is up to 25% of your army's point value, Imperial Ogres and Imperial Dwarfs, and 0 to 2 Doom Seekers per 1,000 points. A big thing to notice here is that the range units aren't available as normal options. You will be getting them as detachments. We'll be talking about that in just a second when we go into the individual rules. Here, it's quite important to note that your engineers can also be a battle standard bearer, which is pretty damn good, because you can have them mounted on war wagons and makes them really, really tasty. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit disappointed that you can't take missile troops by themselves. I think that's something that, I mean, a lot of people would be wanting to field, but I guess they're going very heavily with the theme. Null city-states kind of makes sense to bring in a few halberdiers. That's how I'm fielding them. I'm fielding those halberdiers, and then detachments of the gunners. Alright, so special rules are quite interesting because there's quite a few of them. Big guns know no fear. So Empire Engineers in a city-state of Null army and any unit they have joined gain the Immune to Psychology special rule, whilst the Engineers command range touches a war machine, which is kind of interesting. I mean, you're going to be keeping a lot of stuff back. You're going to be playing this army very similar to that of Dwarfs, I think. Entrenched position is another one. So during deployment, you may entrench a single non-character model whose troop type is War Machine for each Empire Engineer that your army includes. An entrenched War Machine is considered to be behind partial cover and to be defending a low linear obstacle. If they move for any reason, including making Vanguard moves, it's no longer entrenched. Because yes, you can get Vanguard now. So this is with gun limbers, right? So 0 to 1 War Machines per 1,000 points, chosen from the following list, may be given Vanguard and Veteran special rules. So a Great Cannon for 5 points, a Mortar for 5 points, a Hellblaster Volley Gun for 15 points, and a Hellstorm Rocket Battery for 10 points. Vanguard's kind of interesting on a War Machine. I mean, you're not going to be moving them afterwards, but I guess to get into a better position after your enemy is deployed and just positioning just to get a really good shot if you're going to be going first, kind of works. Next, we've got Handgun Drill. Once per game, each detachment of state missile troops in a city-state of Null army can fire with 1 additional rank. In most cases, you're going to be having them in 2 ranks, So yeah, you're going to be able to fire with both ranks. It's kind of decent, but I would have liked to be able to have them with normal state troopers rather than just detachments. Here's where the complicated stuff comes in, okay? So, null state troops. Regiments of null state troops and null state veteran state troops are made as follows, using the profiles for state troops and veteran state troops in the Empire of Man, accompanied by detachments of state missile troops. So a regiment of null state troops consists of a regiment of state troops accompanied by 1 to 2 detachments of state missile troops and or swordsmen. A regiment of null veteran state troops consists of a regiment of veteran state troops accompanied by 1 to 2 detachments of state missile troops and or swordsmen. Each state troops or veteran state troops must be equipped with halberds, there you go, and each detachment must be equipped with handguns, no crossbows for you. Which is a shame, because before I got access to this book, I was painting up a lot of crossbows. Hey, it happens. I mean, at least I can use them for other stuff, right? Now, a detachment of swordsmen consists of state troops equipped with hand weapons and shields. Unlike regular detachments, detachments in a regiment of null state troops may upgrade one model to a sergeant champion for free. This might sound a little bit complicated to some people, but don't worry, once you start list building, I do believe that the Old World Builder website already has it because there was a leak a while back. You can play around with that, no worries. And then, finally, for the rules, we do have the Veteran Outriders. Missile weapons wielded by Outriders included in a city-state of null army are not subject to the ponderous special rule, which is pretty damn tasty. Remember that your Outriders are, well, you know, repeater handgunners but mounted on horses, which makes them really good to move around. I'm a big fan of them, especially since the fact that they're skirmishers, they can vanguard, they've got swift stride. Again, what I like about this is that there's a lot of gun options. It's just disappointing that you can't just bring state missile troopers by themselves. And now we're going to jump into the knightly orders of the Empire, and this is where things get a little bit different because it's not just one knightly order. You've got knightly orders 4 different types. So you can actually field your armies as the Knights Panther, the Knights of the White Wolf, the Knights of the Fiery Heart, the Knights of MORR, which is one of my favorite actually, and the Knights of the Blazing Sun. That's 5 different lists that you get here, each with their own special rules too. Their army list is going to be pretty similar because, I mean, it's knightly orders, they're going to be kind of similar there. So let's talk about it. Characters up to 50%. You've got a 0 to 1 for Grandmasters, as many Chapter Masters as you so wish, but you have to bring one, by the way, which is fine because that's usually going to end up being your Battle Standard Bearer anyway. 0 to 1 Lectors or Sigmar or High Priest of Ulrich per 1,000 points, as many Witch Hunters, Priests of Sigmar, and Priests of Ulrich as you want. 0 to 1 War Altars of Sigmar, taken as a mount for a Lector of Sigmar. For core, you've got 25%, which is 0 to 1 Inner Circle Knights may be taken as a core choice, plus 1 Empire Knights per 1,000 points, so you have to bring 2, essentially, and as many Empire Archers as you wish, so you do get a little bit of range there. For special, we have 50%, and that can be as many Inner Circle Knights and Demigryph Knights as you wish, and 0 to 1 Empire State Troops or State Missile Troops per 1,000 points. So you can bring some handgunners if you so wish, but you do have access to Pistoliers on rail, which is 25%. It's not a big list, keep that in mind, but you do have access to quite a lot here. There's a few changes that come into effect. The complications come in when we start looking towards special rules. So for the generic thing of knightly orders, the general of a knightly order army of infamy must be a Grandmaster or Chapter Master who must belong to one of the knightly orders. Every other Chapter Master and every unit of Empire Knights, Inner Circle Knights, and Demigryph Knights must belong to the same order as your general. Additional units may be allowed or restricted depending on which knightly order your army belongs to. Okay, so this is generic. Now we have to start dividing them and talking about all the different parts, because we're going to be talking about each of the orders individually as they all have their own special rules. So Knights Panther first. An army of the Knights Panther may include 0 to 1 units of Empire Knights or Inner Circle Knights belonging to the Order of the White Wolf as a mercenary choice. This unit is not subject to misbehaving mercenaries, so that gives you a few more options to play around with. Now, there's also some other rules attached to them. So for example, to upgrade a character into a Knights Panther, it's plus 10 points, and a standard trooper, so your Knights, your Inner Circle Knights, or your Demigryph Knights, are plus 2 points per model. Right? And then there's the extra restrictions. So models belonging to the Order of the Knights Panther must be armed with lancers. Now, your characters may still purchase their magical weapons as normal. Then they can re-roll single dice of natural ones when making a charge roll before discarding any dice that are required to be discarded. They also gain hatred against the Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, Brayherds, and demonic models, which I think is pretty interesting. I don't think we've seen a lot of rules going hatred demons. Well, demonic, but you know what I mean. In addition, a Grandmaster, Chapter Master, or a unit of Inner Circle Knights belonging to the Order of the Knights Panther gains the Magical Resistance 1 special rule. So, yeah, pretty damn good overall. I think a lot of people are going to be enjoying the Knights Panther. There's so many options, it makes it really, really fun. Alright, let's talk about the Knights of the White Wolf. An army of the Knights of the White Wolf may include any number of units of TEUTOGEN Guard as special choices, and 0 to 1 units of Free Company Militia as a core choice per 1,000 points. However, your army cannot include any Lectors of Sigmar, Priests of Sigmar, or Witch Hunters. Which is weird, because Witch Hunters aren't really Sigmarite. Well, depending on the order of the Witch Hunters, but there's a few from different gods. Alongside that, a character can be upgraded for 15 points, and a unit is upgraded for 3 points per model, which a little bit more expensive, but I mean, it's going to be kind of worth it, right? So, let's talk about some special rules for the Order of the White Wolf. Models belonging to the Order of the White Wolf must be equipped with either great weapons or halberds, which they may replace with wolf hammers for free, which is pretty damn good. They also gain access to the Furious Charge special rule, and again, characters can have whatever magical items that they want, because that's generally how it works, right? In addition, Grandmaster, Chapter Master of Unit Inner Circle Knights, belonging to the Order of the White Wolf, has a 5-up ward save against any wounds suffered that were caused by flaming attacks. Overall, pretty decent. You're going to be dealing with flaming attacks quite a lot anyway, depending on who you play against. Still theming, as you can see here. This is why I'm so happy about this. It's like, oh my god, this is like different rosters. It means I have to paint up 5 fucking armies though. Alright, Knights of the Blazing Sun now. An army of the Knights of the Blazing Sun may include 0 to 2 Master Mages as character choices per 1,000 points, and 0 to 1 Great Cannons or Mortars as special choices per 1,000 points. However, you can't include any Lectors of Sigmar or High Priests of Ulrich. You can upgrade a character with plus 10 points a model, and a unit per individual model plus 2 points, which isn't too bad. Again, you're going to be spending a lot of time here. Keep in mind that this is going to be a very point-heavy army for you, regardless of which one that you play, right? So, Order of the Blazing Sun. Models belonging to the Order of the Blazing Sun get Evasive and Flaming Attacks special rule. Pretty damn cool. In addition, a Grandmaster, Chapter Master, or unit of the Inner Circle Knights gains plus 1 combat result bonus when calculating its combat result in a turn at which it charges. You can't multi-stack them, so if you've got like 2 or 3 characters inside a unit, you're not going to get plus 4 combat result. That would be silly. But yeah, I mean, Blazing Sun, fire attacks, evasive is not bad. On heavy knights, it's pretty damn interesting, that's for sure. So here come the Knights of MORR now, and an army of the Knights of MORR may include Wizard Lords and Master Mages as character choices. However, your army cannot include any Lectors of Sigmar, Priests of Sigmar, High Priests of Ulrich, or Priests of Ulrich, which kind of makes sense. So characters are upgraded with 15 points per character, and per model for a standard unit is 3 points per model, which, yeah, again, a little bit expensive, but not too bad. So, special rules. Models belonging to the Knights of MORR gain Hatred Undead model special rule, which means Vampire Counts, Tomb Kings, all the usual stuff. This is another reason why I'm thinking is like, oh, you know, we might end up seeing a Arcane Journal for the Vampire Counts in the future to bring them back into core. I mean, there's a lot of hints on the interactive map regarding the Black Grail storyline, but let's not jump into speculation here. And finally, you have a 6-up ward save against anything that was non-magical, which is pretty damn good. Alongside that, you can get a character, a Chapter Master, or an Inner Circle Knight unit gaining Fear and Magical Attack special rule. Again, pretty damn good overall. I like the Knights of MORR. I've always really enjoyed them. It's a shame that they don't have scythes, but yeah, you know, the kit is pretty old, so it doesn't have all the weapon options you can imagine. And then lastly, we have the Knights of the Fiery Heart. So, for the rule is, an army of the Knights of the Fiery Heart may include any number of units of Flagellants as rare choices. However, your army can't include any High Priests of Ulrich or Priests of Ulrich. Makes sense. So you're going to be able to have, you know, your insane dudes. It's a really interesting choice so far. Like, it's, 5 knightly orders, barring, like, you know, the generic one, because you can field a generic one. But, yeah, I mean, it's cool. 5 different, technically 6 armies from just one muster list. So when we got some rules here, so the Knights of the Fiery Heart can only be joined by a Grandmaster, a Chapter Master belonging to the Order of the Fiery Heart, or a Lector of Sigmar, Priest of Sigmar. You get Hatred, Enemy Wizards, Orcs and Goblins, special rule, pretty decent. Have +1 initiative during any first round of combat, overall pretty damn tasty. And in addition, a Grandmaster, Chapter Master, or a unit of Inner Circle Knights belonging to the Order of the Fiery Heart may reroll any to hit or to wound rolls of 1 made during the combat phase. It says made during the combat phase, not first combat or anything, so this might be the best one if you're going to jump into as much combat as possible. Again, no complaints. I think overall, like all of them, I really do. Hopefully in the future we'll just see more coming out. It would be nice to see more orders coming out in like White Dwarf, so you can play as many different knightly orders as possible, because there's like 30 active during this period. So there's a bunch of new and returning units. We're going to talk about the generic stuff first. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Harbinger of Doom, which is a character model. It's technically a new rule set, but it's actually an old model. You know the Forge World Empire Command Kit, which had the General, the Banner Bearer, and then this random Flagellant? Well, that's finally got rules. I know, it's weird, isn't it? So, pretty good stats all around. Movement 4, weapons skill 5, ballistic skill 2, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds, initiative 4 for the attacks, leadership 8, 65 points per model. You can upgrade it to have a flail or a great weapon, but it starts off with a hand weapon. I mean, in most cases, it's 3 points for a flail, you might as well, right? And it can take 50 points worth of magical items. Its special rules are pretty decent, feel no pain, furious charge, immune to psychology, impetuous, all enemies in hatred, prayer of the damned, unbreakable, and zealot. So, there's 2 special stuff here. The first one being Prayer of the Damned. During the command subphase of their turn, this character may attempt to chant the Prayer of the Damned by making a leadership test using their own leadership. If this test is passed until your next start or turn subphase, this character and any unit they've joined gains a 6-up ward save against any wound suffered, and a 5-up ward save against any wound suffered by units that had fear or terror. Zealot also can only mean that you can join Flagellants. That's pretty much it. They need to have the Fanatical Zeal special rule. You can also have this as any Empire of Man army that allows for Flagellants. So if you want it on a Grand Army, you can use them. It's about time that this model can get used. I've got it somewhere and it's like, oh great, I can paint them up. I don't like the idea of having to paint up the 2 boxes of Flagellants I've got waiting for me, but hey, why not, right? I had those boxes for so long, dude. It's just nice to be able to use them. I've been painting up a lot of Empire stuff. Actually, I've sorted out my War Wagon. I've got the Metal War Wagon. That should be posted later on today on the community tab if you want to give it a look. So later this afternoon. Also on Twitter. Coming back, we've got the TEUTOGEN Guard. I think a lot of people are quite excited about these guys. So movement 4, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, toughness 4, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack each, leadership 8, 13 points per model, which isn't too bad. These are your hand weapons, wolf hammers, and also come with 4 plate armor. So you can kind of count them as the Empire's version of the Chaos Warriors. You can upgrade them to full command, 8 points for the champion, 7 points for your standard bearer and 7 points for your musician, 50 points of magical standard, and you may have 1 unit given the Guardians of the Temple special rule, 1 point per model over there, which we'll talk about in just a second. In terms of special rules, they have the Blessings of Ulrich, Close Order, Drilled, Guardians of the Temple, Stubborn, and Veteran. So first up, we have the Blessings of Ulrich. So a model with this special rule has a 6-up ward save against any wounds suffered that were caused by an attack with Flaming Attack special rule. Flaming attacks are very common, so that's perfectly fine. The Guardians of the Temple means that when engaged in combat, a model with this special rule may reroll any ones to hit, which is pretty decent actually. You do have access to Wolf Hammers, which is +1 strength, -2 AP, requires 2 hands. However, if you have charged, you get +2 strength, which is pretty tasty. 5 strength overall in the character is not too bad, and natural +4 in general is pretty damn good. Now, these are Guardians of the Wolf Priest, so if you have a Empire army that allows for Warrior Priests of Ulrich, you can then bring 0 to 1 TEUTOGEN Guard as a special choice, which overall not too bad if you're going to go for Ulrichian theme, Knights of the White Wolf, or just in general with your grand armies. Imperial Ogres are back, very, very old models. So movement skill 6, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 4, 3 wounds each, initiative 2, 3 attacks, leadership 7, 31 points per model. These are going to be naturally with a hand weapon and light armor. However, you can upgrade them with great weapons, morning stars, and light cannons, ogre pistols also. Overall, I mean, that's not bad. You've got a lot of choices there. You can use the Age of Sigmar / old school Warhammer Fantasy kits for some ogre balls if you prefer to use some plastic kits rather than these metal ones. They do have access to Ogre Charge, by the way, which is expected. Motley Crew, because they have different types of weapons. These are per model. You can replace the light armor with heavy armor with 3 points per model, and you can bring a Ogre Captain. This is your champion, but no musician or standard bearer. Now, when it comes to the weapon options, you know, you can get a light cannon, which is pretty damn tasty. Got range 18, strength 4, -1 AP, and also armor bane 2. And it does cause D3 hits when it hits the chosen target, which, you know, it's going to be the whole thing about, like, how the ogres just pack up random crap into their weapons. And the ogre pistol is better range, interestingly enough, 24 inches, strength 4, -1 AP, armor bane 1, and it is also quick shot. The Imperial Ogres themselves can be fielded by the Empire of Man or the Dwarf Mountain Hordes as misbehaving mercenaries and use 0 to 1, which, I mean, it's not too bad. Ogres with dwarfs would be pretty damn good as it stands. Empire Road Wardens are going to be a light cavalry unit. These are going to be another kit basher, so movement 8, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 4, which isn't too bad, strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, 3 initiative, 1 attack, 7 leadership, 18 points a model. You can have them with a captain and also a musician, but no banner bearer, 6 points a model each. So their weapons are pretty basic. It's crossbows, heavy armor, hand weapons, and obviously mounted on a horse. What's really funny is you can just change them to braces of pistols, which, I mean, you know, we have pistoliers, but hey, why not, right? They can get feign flight, which is pretty interesting, and the captain can have a repeater pistol or a brace of pistols. You can get them with scouts or ambushers, which is 1 point a model each. They've got skirmish, Swiss ride, vanguard, fire and flee, open order, fast cavalry. You can bring them with a grand army as a 0 to 1 special choice, and essentially it's just getting the Outrider kits and giving them crossbows, which, yeah. Crossbows are pretty good, in all honesty. The fact that they're pretty good armor piercing, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't see too much of a choice here, but I know people are going to like it because at the end of the day, it's a new unit type, I guess. Even though it's a kit basher, people like that type of stuff. I just don't understand the pistol thing. I really don't. The big thing is the war wagon, and I think this is the one that everyone's quite excited about. It's a heavy chariot, movement 7. It's got 2 war horses and 6 crew, strength 5, toughness 5, 6 wounds, 140 points per model, and you can also have this as a mount option for your engineers, being 140 points. You can bring these in grand armies too. They're a rare choice, 0 to 1 per army, so you can't overdo it, which is a massive shame, but you know, you can bring them with multiple characters and have a little bit of fun. So the big thing about these is you've got multiple weapons, right? So you've got the blunderbuss, the ball and chain, the long rifle, the hooked halberd, the repeating rifle, and the man catcher. All of them with their own different types of weapon values, so you're going to be rolling a lot of dice, but it's going to be worth it because the idea is you're going to be really hurting your enemy with these. The fact that they can be up there and personal in close combat isn't too bad because their stomper tanks, by the way, have armor piercing -1. In addition, this model can deal with low linear obstacles as dangerous terrain rather than impassable terrain because it just kind of rides through. It's nice to see this model come back, honestly. It really, really is. Hopefully there'll be a plastic one in the future, though, because the resin one is made to order for some reason. And lastly, there is stable firing platform. So this means that you can still move and shoot, even if it's marched, which is wonderful. You've got a lot of guns in there. Remember that you can put an engineer in there, kit him out to the 9s, and just really do a lot of damage. The weapon options are on screen. I think they're pretty damn good. There's so much to do with it. Man, I just love the wagon coming back. I had one for a while, so it's nice that I finally have mine up and painted. Also, my brain just died and I've just realized you can have 2 in an army. Well, technically 3 or 4, but 2 as a rare choice because it's per 1,000 points for a grand army, which is really damn good. They are going to be popular. I think war wagons were like the biggest surprise for most people, but overall this book has been pretty damn good. We do have 2 new named characters also. Harold, the Grandmaster of the Knights Panther, is one of them. So he's mounted, he's got weapon skill 7, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 4, wounds 3, initiative 6, 4 attacks, leadership 9. He's 185 points, which isn't bad for a named character. Obviously, we're going back into the times of Warhammer Fantasy where named characters were just very, very expensive. So he starts off with full plate armor. He's got his Beast Reaver weapon. He's obviously on a mounted horse that has some barding too, which is very, very nice. Special rules: countercharge, first charge, Grandmaster of the Knights Panther, Hatred, Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, Brayherds, and Demonic models, immune to psychology, magic resistance -1, Master of Battle, Rallying Cry, Skilled Duelist, Stubborn, Swift Stride, and Veteran. Overall, very good. Grandmaster of the Knights Panther gives him the ability to re-roll single dice of natural ones when making a charge roll before discarding, so that's pretty nice. In addition, he can only join a unit of Knights Panther. It's not the best. I was expecting, like, reroll whatever, because he is the Grandmaster, but hey. Skill Duelist is actually really nice though. So should Harold slay an enemy in a challenge during a turn which he charged, he may immediately issue a second challenge. If this challenge is accepted, it is fought immediately, meaning Harold, but not his mount, may fight 2 challenges during a single round of combat. Which, I mean, his stats are pretty damn good, so why not, right? The fact is his weapon is also pretty damn tasty. Also, Beast Reaver gives him +1 strength, so he's strength 5, -1 AP, armor bane 1, killing blow, and magical attacks. And should he be fighting against Beastmen, well, he may reroll any failed 2 wound rolls, which pretty damn tasty. Pretty damn tasty. I'm a big fan of this character. I think he's pretty damn cool. I think a lot of people are going to like him, especially if they're going to be running Knights Panther stuff. It sucks that it's a character specific to one knightly order, and we don't have like 5 characters for each knightly order. Well, 1 for each. But hey, you know, give it time. We'll get some more characters coming in. The second character is Hans von Lohenhart. So movement 4, weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength 4, toughness 4, wounds 3, 4 initiative, 4 attacks, leadership 9. It's 190 points though. It's a little bit more expensive than a mounted character. So special rules are Hold the Line, Mercenary Commander, Rallying Cry, and Strategic Mastery, also with Stubborn. Mercenary Commander allows him as follows: if Hans is the army's general, friendly units with the Mercenary special rule may benefit from his inspiring presence, and he may be joined by them. In addition, friendly mercenary units are not subject to misbehaving mercenaries rule. So if you're going to be running a mercenary army, I mean, it's possible here. It kind of leads up to this speculation that's been going around that we might get a Dogs of War book down the line, because there's not a lot of mercenaries at the moment, and this one's tailored for that. Strategic Mastery: in scenarios where players roll off to determine who takes the first turn, you may apply a +1 or -1 modifier to the result of your roll, which I really do like. This is going to allow you to be a little bit better there. You can decide who is going to go first. Well, not really if the roll is very, very big, but I like the idea of having this opportunity, right? The Griffin Helm gives him a 5-up ward save against any wound suffered and makes him immune to killing blow, which is tasty. And if he's struck by a wound that would be considered a killing blow, he's still permitted armor and regeneration as normal. So, yeah. And if it's unsaved, he, suffers a single wound, which is pretty damn good. His special weapon, Judgment, is combat +2 strength, -2 AP, magical attacks, multiple wounds 2, and requires 2 hands. Overall, I mean, it's pretty damn good. He's going to be heavily armored anyway because he's got full plates. He's got the helmet too. Yeah, I mean, interesting character. Very interesting character. He's not even from NULN, but he's fighting there. I could imagine a lot more characters coming out. I do wonder where they're going to go with this, right? There's a lot of possible characters that we haven't seen yet, but these 2 are definitely a very, very good start. Obviously, there's some items and stuff, but I don't go over the whole book because that would be kind of taking the piss, considering that they gave me the book. So I don't want to overstay what I do with these types of videos. What I will say is, yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Like the null list could have been a little bit better. Some standard missile troops would be nice every now and then for core. The Knightly Order stuff is freaking great, though. Like, oh my god. See, that's stuff that you kind of expect for like an Warriors of Chaos list, right? So like dedicated to Khorne, dedicated to Nurgle and stuff. They have said no monogod factions just yet, but I imagine that's going to happen down the line. I really want to see more books like this. I really want more sub-factions being brought in, especially with this whole Knightly Order thing where there's a multiple variety. because I've been talking with some other creators, and some dude's like, oh, I'm going to do a Knights Panther list, and the other one's like, oh, I'm going to do a Knights of MORR list. It's like, that's so cool, man. That's so freaking cool. Whether or not they're viable, I mean, time will tell. I've not been able to get a game in with the Knightly Order stuff just yet. Hopefully soon. I do have a few knights painted up, but I kind of just want to like finish up a few more. Get some demigryphs now. Demigryphs are going to be super cool. I really got to get my hands on a spare demigryph though, because you can put characters on demigryphs now. So I really have some interesting ideas. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Obviously, remember that this is on pre-order now. It releases on the 11th of January, so it's not too far away now. And let's hope for loads of Old World news in the year coming. So yeah, have a great one, guys. See you all very, very soon.